Buenos dias. Bonjour. I'm out here in the garden. I'm back here with my berries today. As you guys can see, those my berries back there. They haven't come along fully yet, but give it about the end of next month and it'll be huge. Trust me, every year, because we do like a cut down first, and every year they come back just huge, bigger and bigger. And I'm also back here with my pecan tree. I call him Pawpaw because my Pawpaw used to love gathering pecans and sitting and shelling them out. And my grandmother used to make roasted pecans with a little bit of salt and butter. So my pecan tree, his name is Pawpaw. Yeah. But anyway, that's not what I came on here for. Joshua Gabrielle, I was on your live. I'm always on your live when I get ready at night. And I just let it sit. And sometimes I keep peeping at the scenery. It kind of helps put me in the time to wind down mode. Yes, you are first, Joshua Gabrielle. I'm so glad to see you in here. Today, I wanted to talk to y'all really quick about something that's on my mind. And I'm trying to be obedient and just say what it is that keeps crossing my mind because I know it's the Most High. And I usually don't want to step on anybody's toes. And I know this is the time when Wellness with Frugal Mama comes on with her live. So I don't want to step on her toes. So I will most definitely be going to check out her live after I do this. But I didn't want to be disobedient. That's why I usually come on live so early at like 5 in the morning because I don't like to step on other people lives who I enjoy, who I support, who I watch. So that's why I usually come on so early. Yeah, overnight. Yeah, I like it when you do the overnights because I come in and I actually watch and I watch out for your chat for about a good 30 minutes. And then it kind of helps me calm down just watching the night scenery. So thank you for that. Um, but what's been on my mind is they can't silence your testimony this time. A lot of people probably have been going through this, and I'm not going to be one of those cliche people that say I don't know who this is for. I don't know who this is for. I know exactly who this is for. This is for me, and it may help somebody else. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't know who this is for, but the Lord is telling me. I don't know who this is for, but the universe is telling me. I know exactly who this is for. Hello, Undertaker. I like that name. I like that name. You don't know, but I am a big wrestling fan. Hello, got a choke slam, but let me not go there. Let me not go there. But y'all, the Most High put in my head, they can't silence your testimony this time. Because there have been other things that you have been through, and they were able to brush through it like it was nothing, or brush through it like it was just luck, or just brush through it like, oh, he just got it just because of this, or just because of that, or she just got it just because of this, or just because of that. They liked her better because of this, or they liked him better because of that. They would breeze over your other blessings, and you be sitting there wondering like, why ain't nobody happy for me when I get my spot? Why ain't nobody happy for me when I get my first car? I worked hard for this. Why everybody happy for everybody else, but when I do it, it's like it's not a big deal, or it's, oh, I could have did that, or I did that last year. You know how you got some people out there that'll do that. Some people out there, they'll say, oh yeah, I did that about 2 years ago, or either they'll start downing it and say something like, oh, you really don't want that anyway because that's gonna come with a lot of problems. Da, da, da. Meanwhile, you sitting there like, I'm blessed. I know where I come from. I know how hard. I had to work to get this. I know how I had to hustle. I know how I had some nights where I couldn't sleep and I still had to hop right back up the next morning to go out and get it. I know how I had to save, so I had to go without some things because I was trying to save to get this. But when I get my blessing, it's shut down. Hello from India. I am from the US of A. Whoa, the USA. In the southern part, in the southern states. But I have noticed that throughout my whole life, and I started getting flashes of different things that I went through and different things that I felt like I accomplished, and people tried to shut it down. People tried to minimize it. People tried to act like I was boasting or bragging just if I just mentioned it. But if they accomplished something, it was a big deal. It was grand. There was parties being thrown. When I graduated high school and beat meningitis at the same time. Now I'm finna really go all the way deep into it. When I when I developed meningitis, it started with a simple sniffle, and I was so sick I had to beg and beg and beg to be taken to the hospital because my head was hurting so bad. When they did that spinal tap and they saw the fluid, they had to test it, but as soon as they saw it, they already suspected what it was. It might be meningitis. Y'all, I had to learn how to do everything all over again. I had to watch friends turn on me. I had to watch family members turn on me. They started acting like I had something that was like in a movie or something, like, oh my goodness, I don't want to be next to her. I had a cousin that went to the very same school with me. She used that moment to taunt me, to talk down on me, to bash me to other people who we both knew. Um, Anything to make herself look bigger. And people will do that to you in the midst of your storm. And that's why it was on my mind heavy to come out here and talk about this. In the midst of your storm, you might not see the full picture in that moment. But after a while, when everything passes over and that storm is gone, you eventually gonna have that sunlight come up, and you're gonna start to see everything laid out the way you were supposed to see it. When I beat meningitis, I remember after my graduation, Patty's Kitchen Garden More. Good morning, beautiful Patty's Kitchen Garden More. Yeah, I love Miss Patty. I love Miss Patty. I love the way she teach. I love the way she encourages. I love the way she speak. I love the way she just her whole calmness about her. Y'all, please go check out Miss Patty from Patty's Kitchen Garden More. She is truly an inspiration and truly a joy. Y'all, I don't want to lose track on because I'm trying to be obedient. You have people that will minimize your blessing, your testimony, because they don't want you to get a certain type of praise. But what they don't understand is you're not in it for earthly praise. Once you realize what you're really here for, they can't shut your testimony down. After I graduated and beat meningitis at the same time, I definitely remember sitting on my steps in my home and feeling alone and feeling like nobody was celebrating the fact that I had just graduated high school and beat meningitis at the same time, which one of my teachers even told me, that's a big deal. That means you were already doing what you were supposed to do if you were able to go throughout your senior year in high school sick. You were able to miss certain important tests and you still passed. That literature teacher told me that that I was one of his best students, and I didn't know that at the time. Then at one time, my mama went up to the school thinking she was gonna have to talk to them about any assignments that I may have missed. Can they send it home so I can work on it? And what can she do to help me? Because this was my last year in high school. And she came back home and she dropped her purse and her keys and she said, they said, they said you can miss the whole last few weeks of school and you will still pass. That's how great my grades were. And I'm going to give all praise and glory and honor to the Most High Yah, because I know, and deep in my heart, I know that that's what it was. But like I said, at that time, that testimony was shut down. Every time I would go to talk to people about it, somebody else would come up and say, yeah, because I had a sister, cousin, friend, auntie who had that too. And this what happened to them. Like, they would break into my testimony while I'm trying to minister to somebody else. Now, I'm not a minister, but I'm trying to share my story with somebody else. And people will come and break in between that, and they would start talking about somebody else, or they would start saying, y'all want to go get something to eat after this, or what, but you're trying to share with somebody who's broken. I have had young ladies come up to me and ask me, how do you do it? How did you do it with your babies when you were younger and you had your boys and you were struggling? How did you do it? Because some mornings I feel like I don't want to get up. And right in the middle of when I'm trying to talk to them and say, you know what, you got to stay prayed up. Open up your Bible. Read your verses. Stay strong in it. Make sure you put your children first above anything else. Put your babies first. I don't care if that nigga run out on you. I don't care if he out there in the streets or whatever. Make sure you take care of your babies, because they are the ones that are dependent on you. I could be in the middle of talking to somebody and trying to tell them how I got over, how I got through. Here comes somebody will come up and say, well, you know what you need to do. You need to go down to such, and they would just totally go over my testimony. Totally go over my testimony. Okay, so when my oldest son, when he was first born, he was diagnosed with sickle cell SC. I never forget. He's a twin. His twin was born a blue baby. He was not breathing at all. So here I was 21 years old, just gave birth to a set of twins, and at their newborn screening, I got bad news for both of them. Both of them. So, as the years went on, working with my oldest with his sickle cell, working with my second one who was later diagnosed with autism, I started running into young ladies at the schools and different programs that would ask me, because my boys were older. Like, now they're in their 20s. So I have people who are just getting that diagnosis that their child has autism or that their child has sickle cell, and they're coming to me and asking me questions. I will have people from my very own circle, my very own family, that will break into that and say, no, you need to whoop his tail, or he doing that because you let him. Y'all, when I tell you the enemy will work through anybody to break your testimony, your story. Your testimony can be saving somebody else. Your testimony can be helping someone else. Stop being so quick to down talk these young mothers. Stop being so quick to tell people, oh, they lazy, or they nasty, or they crazy, or stop name calling. Women, if women stick together, if women start praying for each other, these young men will be strong. I'm going to tell you that right now out of experience. I have 6 boys. 6 boys and 1 girl. People will shut your testimony down while you trying to drop a seed to the next person who's going through something that you went through 10, 15 years ago. I have had young ladies come to me and say they just feel like giving up because their child is autistic, and when they go around other parents or other mothers, they hear how they bash parents whose child is still in a pull-up after a certain age. Oh, baby, you gonna have all kind of people talk about you no matter what. Once you become a mother, you might as well, a mother or a father. I'm gonna tell you right now, because I've seen plenty of daddies be the best autism dads that you could ever see. Once you become a parent, be prepared to be criticized, be prepared to be ostracized, be prepared to be talked about, bashed, no matter what. If your child is 3, 4, 5 and have on a pull up, and you know you working with that baby, you know you have put that baby in programs to help with their behavior issues, their sensory issues, whatever the case may be, you got to learn how to Let that go past your ear. Some people say in one ear and out the other. No, I say let it go past your ear, because once you let it go into the ear, then it's gonna sit up here for a while. Don't let it sit on your mind. Let it go past your ear, because they not living your life, baby. They not getting up in the morning with you. They not up all times of the night, because us autism parents, we know that there are days when these parents are not sleeping. If you have an older child with autism, you understand what I'm saying. Some days you go without sleeping at all because that child is not sleeping. You're gonna have people tell you all kind of little quick little gimmicks that they done heard of or whatever. Well, if you buy some such and such and such, it'll pull him right out of it, or it'll pull her right out of that. Y'all, I have had people right in the middle of while I'm trying to talk to a young mother who just got the diagnosis that her 2 or 3 or 4 year old has autism. I would sit there and try to let her know, baby, my autistic son is 23 going on 24 years old. They gave up on him when he was about 2. I had people talk about him because he was in a pull-up when he was about 3 years old. I had people talking about him because he wasn't talking. He wasn't able to talk, so he would get frustrated and make noises. I had people talk about him because he would want to stimulate himself and he would start jumping up and down, jumping up and down. You got to let that go past you. I would be sitting there trying to tell another parent who's just getting that diagnosis my testimony, my story, how my boys are big now, how they told my son with sickle cell he may not live past 12 because he had one of the worst forms of sickle cell there was. My baby, they said he might not make it past the age of 12. Not only did he make it past the age of 12, but he also beat a brain tumor at the age of 17, and he is now 23 going on 24. Yes, they are, Miss Patty. Yes, they are. But you have to stay in your story, stay in your testimony, because we are in the season now where people are not going to have the capability to shut down your testimony. Your testimony is so big, so grand that they can't bypass it. They can't brush past it. They can't shut you down. They can't shut you out. They can't shut you up. They can't breeze in there and jump in with something else, because God has made your testimony so big that it's undeniable. It's undeniable. Y'all, I have gone through so much. People say I'm a good mother, but I'm not. I'm not. I got one child that's no contact. I got another child that's into gaming so much that you hardly see them. But I love on my children. I love on my children just where they at. I totally accept, and I totally try to respect all boundaries that have been drawn for me, for my adult children. Uh, and I try to see things from their point of view. But I will tell you this, I got a testimony that some people have not been able to make it through. Some people gave up on whatever was issues was going on in their household a long time ago because they tried to paint a pretty picture. I'm not trying to paint a pretty picture. I'm trying to live this life and live it for the Most High. I have had illnesses since I was little. Since I was a little girl, I always have been the one that would get sick first. Don't know why, but that's the way my testimony works. Y'all, we have got to stop trying to step on other people's testimony, step on other people's story, because what you're doing is you're getting in the way of the Most High's work. You're getting in the way of what He's trying to do, how He's moving. You're trying to get in the way. Let's be very clear about that. You're trying to get in the way. However, there is no possible way that you can adjust God's plans. God has the last word. You are right about that, Miss Patty. You are so right about that. God has the last say so. He has the last word. What He say goes. Period. Even when things look like it's going array in your life, that's him just adjusting some things. He's just adjusting some things. That's all. When I tell you it's been on my mind here lately to keep coming up to say this to whoever is listening, but it's really for me. I'm not gonna get on here and say the whole, I don't know who this is for. I don't know. I know exactly who it's for. It's for me. It's for me. And after experiencing some things this past weekend, I saw it. We are also in the season of you're going to start to see things. If you're trying your best to keep the laws and you're trying your best to be closer and closer to the Most High, you're going to start to see things. You're going to start to feel things. You're going to start to understand things in a different way. Y'all, I was in the middle of saying, when I was in the hospital, I said, you never know, because when I was in the hospital, um, when I got, when I was admitted into the hospital, I would have never thought that there would have been like a closed door. You can't see your family for 40 days. You're just here with whatever you got. This is what we're going to start. We're going to start it immediately. Um, I don't know how to explain it, but when I was trying to voice that, I noticed that every single person that I was trying to say, you never know. Get your affairs in order now. Love on everybody. I was immediately shut down. Immediately. And I said to myself, that ain't nothing but the work of the enemy. Nothing but the work of the enemy. Because that is a grand testimony to say that you went into the hospital because you had a sore throat. I had a sore throat and could barely swallow. I was in so much pain. I did a live like a couple of days before that, and I think J3 was in my live, and he was like, just get some rest. Just get off before I have to tell your husband, get some rest. Um, my father's children, my oldest children, their father was in the live, and he was like, get some rest. Y'all, I'm trying to tell my testimony to somebody who needed to hear it. I'm not going to say what all, but needed to hear it. And that person shut me off. That person was like, you look good though, girl, you look good. No. You need to hear this. You never know when you may be put in a predicament where you may not be able to see your family again. You never know when something may happen out of nowhere. You thinking you healthy, you fine, you young, you living life and whatever. It's a blessing to get older. I want to get older, but I also want to take in the knowledge from people who have gone through what I've been, what gone through things that I may go through. I don't want to shut nobody's testimony down, because what they went through could possibly be something that I have to go through later in life. If not later in life, probably that night. They tried to shut my testimony down, and it was clear as day to me. I don't know if it's because I've been very prayed up here lately. I don't know if it's because I have set boundaries and only have people that are, let me say it like this, vibing on the same frequency as me, or just have the same morals and values as me. I don't know what it is, but here lately it's like my spiritual eyes are open. My spiritual eyes are open. And once your spiritual eyes are open and you start to peep things and see things, it's not that you're being judgy. It's not that you're being snooty or whatever you want to call it. It's just the fact. It's just the simple fact that you see it. So I started to see how when people talk to me, they drop their head and they say, yeah. Or either they'll totally dismiss what I'm saying when I say, God is good. God has been good to me. You look good here. You look good. God has been good to me. The Most High, they would try to pass by the fact that I'm saying who brought me out, who was with me in that time, what helped me get through. You can't bypass that. You can't, especially in today's world. They tried to shut your testimony down, but we are now living at a time where they can't shut your testimony down. And they don't know what to do with that. Because it used to be a time where they could shut your testimony down so quick. And it's one of those times where you get in the car later and you say, dog, what happened? I should have said this. I should. Why didn't I say what I was going to say? Why didn't I tell her this? Or why didn't I tell him this? Because they shut you down. Right when you was about to say something that the enemy didn't want you to say. Right when you was about to share how you got what you got. How you did it. How you got over. Like my grandmama used to say, how I got over. How you got over. They don't want you to share how you got over. They just want to keep on bypassing it, ducking and dodging. Or either they'll say, oh yeah, I know somebody who did that. Like they try to make your testimony mediocre. Oh yeah, you could say, yeah, I got a new apartment. I've been busting my behind for years trying to get me an apartment. You should have got a house. What if that person didn't want to house? What if that person didn't want to deal with maintenance of a yard? What if that person didn't want to have to deal with if something breaks down in their house? They got to handle it themselves instead of just calling the landlord. If somebody comes to you and say, hey, y'all, I got an apartment. I'm proud of it. This is how I did it. I stayed prayed up. When I had to go to work all those hours, I just made sure I kept God in my life. I asked God to protect me or whatever. That enemy would shut you down. Shut you down while you trying to share your story. When you notice things like that, don't react. Don't react. Because that's what the enemy wants you to do. The enemy wants you to get all upset and be like, I'm trying to tell you something, or listen to me and all that. Nope. Identify the enemy, keep your calm, and say, all praise to the Most High. I did it. And watch that enemy fold. Watch him fold. Keep telling y'all testimony. Keep telling y'all story. Keep sharing what you have been through. Stop just sharing the fact that you perfect. You never done any wrong. You don't have anything going on in your life. Stop sitting there acting like you did something grander than the next person and that's why your life better than this one or whatever. No, start telling your story. Start telling your testimony. Start telling how you got it out the dirt. Don't just say I got it out the dirt and then sit there and try to brush through it and say, oh, these children these days, it's the parents. No, you know what kind of world we living in. You know there's some parents out here that's doing everything that they can possibly do, and these children are being wavered and swavered, and I'm making up words, and into these electronics and into their peers at school, and then now you got teachers that's whispering in their ear and telling them this, that, and other. You know. So stop doing it. Stop making somebody's testimony mediocre. You got some parents out here that can tell you, yes, I had 4 children to go off to college and to do good, but I had that one. Or I had 2 that decided to go elsewhere, and I'm praying for them. See, that's when you know you have reached somebody with knowledge, with somebody with wisdom, because they'll tell you their testimony, but at the same time, they're going to tell you, I'm praying for them, or I was praying for them, or I was really going to the Most High on their behalf, and I was trying to intercede. I was trying to really just connect on a spiritual level and save that child. And then you got people that want all the glory for themselves. So they'll sit there and they'll say, well, I don't do this, I don't do that, I have this and I have that. I. When are you going to put God in it? Everybody does not want that responsibility. Trust me when I tell you, I got 2 properties, and a lot of people do not want to know half of the stuff I go through. A lot of people say, I don't want no house because that means I have to cut the grass every week. Some people say, I don't want no house because I don't know how to fix things. Like if a hot water heater or something go out, or if the AC unit or something go out, I wouldn't know the first thing to do. I just call the landlord. Everybody don't want a house. Some people want the convenience, which is very convenient, the convenience and the stability of what they can handle. Y'all, I just realized, and I came out here to share with y'all what the Most High put in my spirit all last week, and I got confirmation this weekend. All last week, the Most High kept telling me they can't shut this testimony down. Y'all don't know how powerful this is. Y'all don't know how powerful this is. And I want y'all to use this in y'all affirmations or whatever today. And I'm going to go back. I promise I'm going back to Wellness with Food Mama, because she always have a good affirmation, a good little, positive thought in there before she get started with her workout. Y'all, want y'all to think to y'allself today. There are some testimonies that I have that can't be shut down. They cannot possibly breeze over this testimony. They cannot possibly say, oh, that ain't nothing. Anybody can do that. I've had people tell me that too in my family. And when they found out I was being a background actress, and I was going to all these studios in Georgia, and I was doing all these big movies, and I was actually getting emails because I had a lot of big natural hair, and I had people contacting me because they were doing period films in Georgia. They was doing like Watson's Go to Birmingham and the Bessie Smith movie. I had people contacting me saying, can you come in on such and such a day and have your hair just out, and we will have somebody do your hair for, all because I was a dark-skinned female with thick natural hair. The one thing that I was picked on about throughout my whole life. I was constantly picked on about being a dark-skinned girl. I was constantly picked on about my thick, natural, nappy hair. And then when family members found out that I was a movie extra, because that's when the movie industry started coming to Georgia, because it was a tax credit or something like that. When they found out that I had started participating in all these period films that was going on in Georgia, and I was actually getting emails and phone calls asking, can I come in on certain days? And I had people even get on like their social media and say, well, I didn't see you in there. I'm a background. So I'm in there. I'm drizzled in there. But people started saying, oh, anybody could do that. In my family, my blood. Anybody could do that. I got a homeboy that did that one time. Anybody could do that. So they breezed over that testimony. That was the testimony in itself. The fact that I was able to even do that, that was the testimony in itself. We are talking about somebody who survived meningitis and thyroid disease and was still getting phone calls asking can I be at a certain location? Walking of the Dead. I had to drive a few hours just to get to that location where they wanted me. But once I got there and they saw me, they was like, perfect, perfect. To have somebody look at you and say, oh, thank you, she made it perfect, perfect. That's a big deal for somebody like me, because I'm not that type of person to be like, yes, I'm here, like I'm walking in like humble and like, oh my goodness, I actually made it here. I'm on a movie set, da da da. That's what I believe, Miss Patty. Now that I'm older, that's what I believe. But it was the same thing that I was criticized for that had these people who was coming from Hollywood saying, we need her. We need her. My son was so happy when he found out I was in Watson's Go to Birmingham, because he had to read that when he was in school. And it was around the same time when he had to read it. He had to read Watson's Go to Birmingham, and he found out that I was actually in the movie. And he was like, Mom, I had to read it. I said, I know. And I was waiting for him to see the movie. And he was like, oh my God, oh my God. And he was like, is that when you had to wear such and such? Because I had to do like a couple of scenes because of my natural hair, and because I was dark skinned, and because I was slender. So they wanted me to do a running scene. They wanted me to do a church scene. I had to do a few scenes. The thing that I was picked on the most, my testimony, my big testimony, the thing that I was picked on the most about, I was getting called on for. I was I was literally getting emails because of my dark complexion and my thick, nappy, natural hair. Yeah, that was that was nothing but the Most High. That was nothing but the Most High. And it was grazed over once again, just like every other testimony in my life. Went through meningitis. Went through having two babies that they thought weren't gonna make it. Went through having thyroid disease. I went through vertigo. I went through barely being able to talk, to now you can't shut me up. I went through all of that, and it was just, oh, anybody could do that. Oh, that ain't nothing. Oh, all you got to do is, you need to whoop his tail. I went through all of that, and it was always just grazed over. God is awesome. Praying Couple Cooking Series in the room, y'all know how much I love them. Where I'm from, we call them some good down home folks. That's what we call people like Praying Couple Cooking Series. Good down home folks. Type that'll pray with you and still come to the cookout. They ain't too uppity to come to the cookout. Y'all, when I tell y'all God has been so good to me that I would be a fool. And my grandmama used to always say, don't be nobody's fool. But I would be a fool to not continue to tell my story, to tell my testimony. And the only thing, person, creature that would be mad at my testimony would be nothing but the enemy. Nothing but the enemy. Don't let nobody let you graze over your testimony. Praying Couple Cooking Series, I saw y'all testimony when y'all was sitting and y'all was telling how y'all started and everything. Don't let nobody, and I mean nobody, shut your testimony down. Nobody. We are in a season where we are supposed to be telling our testimony. These young folks out here that's lost and think they got the whole world figured out, we supposed to be telling our testimony, even if they act like they can't hear it. They hear bits and pieces of it. Y'all, I've come so far, so far. And I've had family members, friends, uh, talk about me, bash me. I had friends stop being my friends, and cousins stop inviting me to things when my son was diagnosed with autism, because they just felt like he was just bad. He just bad. Instead of helping me or talking to him or playing with him and giving him that interaction he needed so badly, they were just quick to bash, talk about, and stop inviting us. Now, now the same one that they was talking about and going on, he is doing excellent. Excellent, because his mama did not give up on him. I did the detoxes. I found ways to put veggies in his food without him realizing it. I have allowed people to shut me up and shut my testimony down because I didn't want to step on nobody's toes, and I didn't want to start anything. I wanted to be nice, so I didn't want to feel like I was saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing. But right now, I have a testimony so grand, so big, that nobody can shut it down. Nobody can shut my testimony down. My my praise is a praise on a different level. Because when I tell y'all, ever since I was a little girl, I have always been the type that just, God, please. God, please. I was always talking to God. Please, God, help my grandma. Please, God, be with my dad. Please, God, be with my mom. My mom she's working. My mom was a banker, so she was always working and then going to church. She always made sure we was in school and everything. And I'm like, Mom, God, please give my mom the strength. Because I see her struggling. Mama used to always think I was laughing at her, but I would be laughing, but at the same time, I used to be praying for my family. Lord, please be with my sister. Please be. And my cousin, he's a minister now. Something told me when I was a young girl. Something told me when I was a young girl. Protect him. Protect him. I call him my twin cousin. Something literally told me, protect him. I never let nobody mess with him. It was something about it. It was something about it. And when he got older, he told me one day, he said, cuz, I think I'm being called into the ministry, and the more I run from it, the more I go through. And when he said it, I already knew that was why I was so protective over him. Because he had a calling on his life. Y'all, if y'all don't take nothing else I say to y'all today, please take this, and I want y'all to just take it throughout the day. Don't let nobody shut your testimony down. I don't care how they try to make you feel about it. I don't care if they come back and do another video where they trying to so-called ease and talk about you a little bit or whatever. I don't care. And neither should you. Because we are all doing this for the greater good of the Most High. If God ain't in it, I don't want nothing to do with it no way. I'm just being real. Y'all, I have allowed people to graze over my testimony for years. For years. Every time I made an accomplishment, every time I did anything, it was kind of looked down on or whatever. I graduated and I'm sitting on the steps by myself looking crazy. Everybody else graduate, they getting parties, they getting grand gifts. It was always something about me. It was always something about me. I was always shut out every time I accomplished anything. When I got my first house, everybody was, oh, she thinks she bad now that she got a house. Oh, well, y'all was all right when I was staying in that trailer for 13 years. Yes, I stayed in a trailer park for 13 years, and I saved my money, and I did what I had to do as a mother. I put my kids first. I put my kids first. And no, I'm not a perfect mama, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I am, because there have been some times where I have had to get on my children and say, we don't do that over here. And some people don't agree with this, and some people don't agree with that. But as for me and my house, this is what we do. So when I was in that trailer for 13 years, I had a lot of friends. Clubbing. Had a lot of friends. Messed around and found a hood home, and I said, you know what, I want to get me a house because I want my children to have their own space. I want to have a garden. I want to have a privacy fence because I have an autistic child, and I want him to be able to go in the backyard and play basketball and run around without worrying about him kind of wandering off. When I got the things that I had prayed for, guess how many people I lost around me? Guess how small my circle became when the things that I had prayed and asked the Most High for started to show its face. Full on, not just partial. When I tell you everything that I asked for, but it came with losing people who didn't want to see me win. When I tell you I have exactly what I asked for, I have exactly what I asked for. I asked for a big yard, a garden, a privacy fence, a big house where the kids can have their own space. Everything that I asked for. I'm not talking to nobody particular. I'm talking to me. You know how people get on here and say, I don't know who this is for. I know exactly who it's for. It's for me. I have to remind myself sometimes. God listens to me. God listens to me. When you accomplish something and people graze over it and people try to act like it's no big deal, or they try to act like it wasn't God, it was something else. Somebody said in my comments one time, it wasn't God that healed her, it was the doctors. Who do you think put those doctors in my life? Who do you think got involved when I could barely speak and nobody could understand me because my throat was closing up because the cancer had gone over 90-some% of my body? Who do you think stepped in when nobody could understand what I was saying, but they understood the name of the hospital? They heard that, and that was all they needed. They was asking me 50 million questions. I couldn't hardly talk. I couldn't hardly speak, y'all. And then when I said, take me to, and I said the name of the hospital, that was it. They took me to the right place. So who do you think stepped in when nobody could understand me, but they understood the name of the hospital? You say it wasn't the doctors. I mean, you say it wasn't God, but it was the doctors. But guess what them doctors said when they came in and saw my Bible sitting over there by the window? Them doctors said, hold on to your faith. Hold on to your faith. Candy K all day. Wasn't so frugal, mama. I promise I'm coming back. I'm coming back. Gwen Michelle, I'm sorry, y'all, but I had to. It was on my mind this morning, and I said, it was on my mind all week. And I said, I'm going to be obedient. I'm going to be obedient. If God is trying to tell me to say this, this is what I'm going to say. Stop denying your testimony. Don't stop talking about your testimony because it offends somebody else, or because somebody else is going to use your testimony as a little gossiping story. They can gossip about it all they want. They can talk about it all they want. But you know that it was nothing but God. You know that it was you praying. You know you was in there crying that night. We're not going to pretend that sometimes we don't get so caught up in the spirit that we start thinking about everything we done been through and we just break down. I have had those nights where I'm talking to the Most High and I just break down and cry. People say don't ask questions, don't ask questions. But I was raised where you get answers when you ask questions. He talks to you when you ask questions. I would break down and I would cry and I would say, Lord, why? And then after I say why, I say, give me the strength. You don't have to move the mountain, but give me the strength to climb. That's for Miss JoJo right there, because Miss JoJo should break down in the song in a minute. But I just want to let y'all know, if you have a testimony, if you have a story to tell, don't let these naysayers try to shut you up. Don't let these people try to graze over your story. Your story is to be told. Keep telling it. I love seeing people that say, I got through this. This is what I went through. This is what I did. I love people who can own up to their issues, to their problems, who can fight their darker side and say, yes, I was all of that. But look now. Look at where I'm at now. I won't give in. When I tell you I have been thinking of that all last week, like, your testimony can't be shut down this time. And then this weekend, I literally had people try to shut my testimony down. When one person would ask me something, and then I would go to tell her, I would go to say, well, you know, I stayed prayed up while I was in there. You never know what may happen. And somebody else would come in and say, but yeah, you look good, girl. You look good. Like they would start talking about something else, or they would start talking about a friend of a friend that they know that laid down their sword because they was fighting leukemia too. I know they would start naming people who passed from leukemia, and I'm like, why would you do that in the middle of while I'm trying to encourage somebody who may have gotten news but just ain't told y'all yet? Now they don't want to tell y'all because of how you reacted just by my story. Keep telling y'all story. Keep telling your testimony, but don't leave out the dark part. Don't leave out the times when you sat in that living room on your sofa and you broke down in tears because you didn't understand why things was happening to you. Don't leave out the part where you applied for that job that you really wanted and you didn't get it and you didn't understand why you didn't get it. Don't leave out that part. Don't leave out the part when people stop being around you because your child was a little different. Don't leave that part out. I know I won't. Don't leave it out because somebody don't want to be seen as the bad person in your story. Don't leave it out. They should have thought about that when they played their part. Don't leave out anything that can be saving somebody else because your story could be saving more than that person. It could be saving generations. Your story, your testimony, your willingness to let God use you can possibly be helping more than you think. When I tell you that people will shut your testimony down so quick, or they will use it as a gossiping um, talking point, let them. Let them. You've done exactly what you were supposed to do. Miss Riz, you've done your job. And now it's time for you to tell it. I have a testimony so big now and people want to shut it down, but the testimony is so big and so out there that you can't even shut it down. The doctor that helped me is doing seminars about cells. Doing seminars about how you can help the cells regenerate in a healthier way. I'm one of his talking points. That ain't nothing but God. I'm one of his talking points. When my son was in the hospital, him and this young lady named, what is her name? I hate, she had red hair. She had red hair. She was a little girl. She was dealing with a blood cancer. Nina. That's what her name was, Nina. And her mom had bright red hair too. She was on the bone marrow unit. And her mom had become, we had become close because both of our kids love anime. So we would be in the Ronald McDonald family room, drinking our coffee, shedding some tears, trying to boost ourselves back up to go back in the room with our children. And Nina's story was so grand that at first they tried to graze over her story. And her story became so big that they couldn't go over it anymore. Nina went on a trip and she was playing on a waterfall or something, a slide and everything, and it was out in nature. She got a cut. When she came back to Georgia, they dismissed it and said it was an infection or whatever the case may be. It was cancer. So they mentioned it on the news maybe once or twice and they let it go. Mind you, they was just saying like it was an infection, whatever. Nina was an artist. She went into remission and then it came back. She got put back in the hospital. Her story became bigger because here it was, the little girl that went on a vacation and came back with an infection. They found out it was cancer, the whole little story. Now to top it off, this is the artist. The artist that fought cancer when she was younger, and now she's a young a teen, a preteen, and here it is, she's fighting cancer again. Y'all, when I tell y'all, her story became so big to the point where I was proud to know Nina. I was like, she is really doing something. She was an activist. She was an artist. She was a poet. She was just a grand person. Like, if you see her, you just felt happier just being around her. Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's where the land is cheaper here. But I'll do another video about that. But Nina was one of those people where her testimony was so big that nobody could shut it down. They couldn't just graze over it anymore. They tried for a couple of years to graze over her story. But then as the years went on, her story became bigger and bigger and bigger. And yes, I stay in the south parts of Georgia, so y'all gonna hear some planes. But I feel like that's in all of us. I feel like that's in all of us. Our story is so big, so grand. Our testimony needs to be told. Our testimony has to be told. It's so big that nobody can shut it down. Nobody can stop it. Nobody can graze by it. Nobody can make it mediocre. Nobody can say, oh, well, that's nothing. Anybody could do that. Or I know a friend of a friend of a friend who did that, blah, 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 whatever. And you know how people can be dismissive. If people are being dismissive over your testimony, that's okay. The story is so big that even if they try to dismiss it, you know that they see your testimony. He prepares a table before you in the presence of your enemies. I probably jacked that up. He prepares a table before you in the presence of your enemies. Y'all know what I'm saying. Y'all get what I'm saying. I got chemo brain. Give me a little break here. Yes, you have to dismiss the dismissal of others. I like the way you put that. When people try to downplay your testimony, your story, your praise, your worship, the reason why you sing, the reason why you shout, the reason why you clap your hands, the reason why you feel so joyous and happy. I had somebody tell me, why are you smiling in your videos and talking about cancer at the same time? I don't believe it. I think you're doing this for attention, because how could you possibly smile through? How could I not? How could I not? That cancer was over 90% of my body and trying to choke me out. My white blood cell count was 96,000. How can I not smile? How dare you being upset at the happiness and the joy that I have in the Most High, in the works that He has put in for me, in the way people have prayed for me and loved on me, despite what others may say, think, or do. And that's exactly what I said. Well, Michelle, you said it right. Only the devil questions why you smile. Y'all, I ain't mean to keep y'all this long, but when I tell you that's been on my heart for a week, and then this past weekend, I got confirmation on it, and then somebody else tried to kind of downplay when I was saying, hey, you never know. Get your affairs in order. Get your spirit right. And I started saying how it gets a little dark and lonely in that hospital. And you're going to have a one-on-one with the Most High. You're going to have that moment. Whether you like it or not, you're going to have that moment. And when you do, please understand, that's going to be your choice, your time of decision. That's gonna be when you make up in your mind what you gonna do. And I made up in my mind that I wanted to stay here a little longer. I wanted to fight because I didn't want to give people the satisfaction of thinking, here it is, she was going to church and doing all that praying and stuff, and look at her, there she go. And then the same ones that wouldn't go down the street to support you and your children when they had birthday parties and they wouldn't even show up, the same people that wouldn't support you when you got that raise at your job and you was so excited about it that you wanted to go out to eat or celebrate, and they same people that wouldn't go down the street for you would be the same people that would travel miles to come to view your body. So tell your story. Tell your testimony. I don't care who you offend, and I don't care what they say about it. I don't care how they try to season it, add, take away. I don't care how they try to clip it. Tell your story. Tell your testimony, because your testimony is so big that can't nobody shut it down. And when you see it, Miss Riz, when you start to see it working in your life, hey, babe, they can say all they want to say. Before I had this, what I have, I can only imagine it. I was staying in a trailer, like I said earlier. I was staying in a trailer for 13 years in a mobile home park. I done seen some things over there in that trailer park. You hear me? And when I started to see what God had in store for me, and I started to really try my best to do my best to stay in His Word, stay prayed up, and stay faithful, and I started to see some things work out for me. Slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. I was depressed, and I was deep in my depression. I was deep in my depression where I would sit there and just be crying and just wasn't taking care of myself. I was deep in that thing. Not no fake depression. Not when these people just say they depressed just because it's the thing to talk about now. No, I was really in depression. But when I tell you, I told God exactly what I wanted, and I have that and more. I have that and more. Who would want to shut that testimony down? Nobody but the enemy. Because somebody could possibly be watching me and say, dog, I wanted to do this, I want to do that. You can do it. You can do it. And don't let nobody stop you. As long as you ain't hurting nobody and you keeping your spirituality intact, you holding on to your morals and your beliefs, ain't nothing the enemy can do or work through, because they work through people who don't even know they being used. Ain't nothing he can do that can break you. I was broken. I was broken, and I was in a dark space for a long time. And I watched people mistreat me. And then if I stand up for myself, then I was the crazy one. I was the crazy one if I set boundaries for myself. I was the crazy one. When I was in that trailer, y'all, and I started setting boundaries about how often I go out, how much I spend, and I started saying there was certain things I just wasn't going to get because I didn't tell anybody at the time. That's another thing. Don't tell nobody what you got going on with the Most High. I didn't tell nobody. When I started working that thing out where I really wanted to get out of that trailer, I didn't tell not one soul. I stopped buying certain things. I stopped spending time with certain people. I had to release some stuff. And slowly but surely, things started popping up. And I'm going to tell you, the first thing that popped up one morning, when I just kept praying about it, and I started keeping my notebook, my little, with all my expenses and everything. Y'all, one morning I got up and I went to scrolling on my phone. What we do. Scrolling on my phone. The first thing that popped up, somebody that went to my high school had their real estate license. Talking about I didn't reach out. Talking about I didn't reach out because I knew what I had prayed for that night before. Audra Vella, I enjoyed your live yesterday. Yes, you got to keep yourself soaked and covered in the blood. People don't understand how powerful that is. My grandmother, she used to, I know y'all get tired of me talking about my grandmama, but I was a grandmama's baby. I was a grandparent's baby. My mama and daddy didn't drop me off over there, you know, to live for years and then like that, but I was just the type where I like being up under my grandparents. My grandmother, she used to actually sometimes do like this. She would like, and I asked her one day, because I was a curious child, I had questions. So I asked her, I was like, why you do all that? She said, sometimes you got to shake the mess off so you can cover yourself in the blood. And I was like, why so dramatic? She said, no, sometimes you really have to shake that mess off and then cover yourself in the blood. She said, I'm serious, Key. She used to call me Key. I'm serious, Key. And she said, let me see you do it. And so I did it, I was acting like her. And she said, now I want you to say the Lord's Prayer over yourself. And I want you to hold your head up and keep walking. And that stuck with me. That stuck with me. She said, if you don't know any other prayer key, learn the Lord's Prayer. And I said, well, you know I know the Lord's Prayer. She said, know it. Like the back of your hands. Come on, Key. And so we walked up saying the Lord's Prayer together. She didn't want me to repeat after her. She wanted me to say it with her. She said, now you covered. We ready. Like we were going to war. And at the time, I'm young, so I'm like, is she tripping? Now I get it. Mama Emma, I'm 44. People say don't talk to the dead, but sometimes I have to remember. Sometimes I have to acknowledge the people that put God in my life. So, yeah. I'm acknowledging my grandmother as being one of the main people that put the Most High in my life. Introduced me to my Creator. And the way she did it was so classy and settled. Y'all don't let nobody shut y'all testimony down. I don't care what all you've been through. I don't care who had to see it. I don't care how many nights you had to cry. I don't care how much darkness you had to go through. I don't care what struggles you had to go through. Tell it. Tell it. And like Gwen Michelle said, ain't nobody mad but the devil. Ain't nobody mad but the devil. Tell it. Keep smiling. Keep dancing. Keep loving. Keep living. Most of all, keep living. But y'all, I'm going to let y'all go. My in-laws are in town, so I can't really be in the kitchen like I used to. But I just want to let y'all know that we are living in a time where they can no longer graze over your testimony. They can no longer shut your testimony down. They can no longer belittle your testimony. Testimony is so big, so unheard of, so miraculous that they can't do nothing about it. They can't shame you for it. They can't gossip about it. They can try. They can try. They've been able to kind of bypass your testimonies in the past. But now, it's so big and so grand, and you've been through so much and you got a trail of testimonies, like a train. Let me tell you about when I went through this. Let me tell you about when I went through that, how I got over. testimony is so big, so grand, so unstoppable. Y'all, love on people. Love on people. Be positive. Share your light. Share your love. Most of all, share where you get that extra from. You get it in knowing the Most High. You get it in talking to Him and developing that relationship with Him, that personal relationship with Him. To the point where people ask how many times you pray. I don't have a number. There's some other people, I don't have a number of times I pray a day. I pray from the time I'm getting up to the time I go to sleep at night, and sometimes praying when I'm asleep. It is what it is. That's right. We have to share. We have to share. Don't let nobody, and I'm not a, authority figure in the church and nothing like that, but I really feel like this word is for me. I had to understand that in the past, people have brushed over any testimony I had, any story that I had, any joy that I had on my heart. People would be mad that I'm happy, or they would get mad if I receive a blessing, or whatever, or they would try to make it seem like, oh, that's nothing. That's nothing. You don't know how much I prayed for this. You don't know how much I cried for this. You don't know how much I wondered, why not me? Why I can't? Oh my goodness, I was just so down and out and destroyed. You don't know. You don't know. Pray without ceasing. That's right. The beautiful Miss Patty. There you go. There you go. I pray so much to the point where it's not even a fixed schedule. Some people say, oh, you got to pray such amount of time that you got to pray. I pray all the time, because that's what then got me through. I'm praying while I'm cooking. Praying while I'm cleaning. It ain't nothing but God. Y'all don't let nobody tell you your testimony is not great. Your testimony is grand. Grandiliosis. Your testimony is worth telling. Your testimony is worth dancing over. Your testimony is worth smiling over. Your testimony is worth being told. Changes everything. Changes everything. But when you pray, make sure you keep that faith. Hold tight to it, because some people are trying to rock that too. Some people are trying to shake that. You could tell. Don't tell nobody what you're praying for. Keep that between you and God. Because you got some people that'll say, oh, I wouldn't be wanting that, because see what you gonna do is, I wouldn't want that type of car, because I had a friend got that kind of car. I wouldn't want this. I wouldn't want that. Praying Cup and Cooking series. Thank you for coming in. RX Nails came in. RX Nails. I didn't see RX Nails come in. You know what? I'm doing great. I had to stop my squats for a couple of days, but I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm still eating my salads. Still doing that. But after the biopsy, I had to slow down on the squats. But y'all, if you know you've come a long way, and people have been brushing over your testimony, people have been talking over your testimony, gossiping over your testimony, saying you didn't earn it, or the only reason why you got it because of this, or the only reason why you got it because of that. We in the season now where when we tell our testimony, it's so big now. It has grown. It's snowballed. Our testimony has snowballed. Our testimony has gotten so big to the point where people can't graze over it. People can't bash it. People can't gossip about it. People can't act like it's nothing, it's mediocre, anybody can do that, whatever. Our testimony has gotten so big and grown over the years that it's impossible to look over. Y'all, I'm out of here. With that being said, I had to come out here with my pawpaw, with my pecan tree. I call him pawpaw. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Yes, y'all, I want y'all to have a great day. But I want y'all to remember what I said. For the rest of the day, I want y'all to just keep putting that in your head. Your testimony is so big that it can no longer be grazed over. It can no longer be, talked about, gossiped about. Your testimony has grown over time, has snowballed. It just gathered more testimonies along the way. And now your testimony is so big. Miss Patty's telling you hello. Let them talk. That's right. Audrey Arabella said, let them talk. Your testimony has gotten so big. And like I said, I'm not just talking this talk. I'm walking this walk. This is something I prayed for years ago. This is something I prayed for when I was staying in that trailer home. This is something that I prayed for when my children were getting talked about because one was getting diagnosed with autism, one had sickle cell. This is what I prayed about. I'm standing in it. I'm standing in what I prayed for. Sick and all. But now, my testimony is even bigger. Because now, I'm a cancer survivor. On top of all of that, y'all better understand. So for the rest of the day, I want y'all to say it to yourself. My testimony has grown. My testimony has gotten so big that they can no longer deny it. They can no longer shut my testimony down. It's too big. It's too big to be covered. It's too big to be shut aside. My testimony is big. It has grown. And I love it. I love every part I went through. I love every inch of what I went through. I love y'all. I'm going to be watching y'all today. I'm going back and checking out everybody who I missed this morning because I got out here running my mouth. But I had to be obedient, y'all. I had to be obedient. And I feel so much better that I actually got it off my chest, what has been in my heart for over a week. I will see y'all in the next video. Until next time, we will continue with our lesson, learning the language lessons soon. Hopefully very soon. But like I said, my in-laws are in town. So just bear with me. Because my mother-in-law don't like me being in the kitchen, really. She likes to take over the kitchen. So I'm going to let her do that. I have learned my lesson. When somebody comes in to help and they really want to help, let them help. So, y'all, thank you, Audrey Arabella, for being here. Thank you, Sirius S.A. Virgo from Georgia. You see all these peach trees. You know where I'm at when you see all these peach trees. But until next time, gracias por ver. Thanks for watching. Adios. Bye.